This was given out Tuesday. The S&P should fail. That was yesterday. Should fail at 45.40 and then decline to 44.94 to 93 and do so into 9.9 plus or minus a day. The market did fail at 45.40. They got above it for a little bit. Then they failed at it and they went down. And today, one day early on the 8th, they made a low of 44.92. We're looking for 44.94 to 93. Pretty good, right? And this uses the square principle. Those of you that are going to be using or thinking about using the square principle or learning the square principle on October 30th and 31st, that would be a trade I'll show you how I did when you're at the seminar. So that's a pretty good example of a pretty heavily based square principle trade. The S&P had been advancing, and we said they should normally fail at 45.06 and go down to 44.98 to 97. If they close at or above those levels on the 15th, then they should advance to 45.12. So look what happened. They went up to 45.07. So they failed at 06. They went down to 44.98 to 97, straight down in real time. They went down to 95. They firmed up, and then they rallied right up to 45.12. Pretty good, right? I mean, that's a great example of just what can be done with a completely random market. Just kidding, right? It's not random. If it was random, this would literally be magic. That's what this would be. You would be seeing real magic if the markets were really random. But the markets are not really random, nor is anything else. So therefore, there's principles and laws and other things that are at work in the market. Yes, there is hope for the bears in the S&P, and I'm going to tell you why, but I'm not going to tell you the whole thing. But first things first, the bears are not going to be happy for a short time anyway if we close today above 44.93, and I think we will close above 44.93 today. So there's going to be there's still a little more before we get, if we are going to go down. But I do have some, unless the market is really brutally strong, and they have been, but under normal conditions, we do have indications for lower prices next week, which is the week of the 13th. Now, if it was going to be 1 week late, it would be a whole nother week before you saw these numbers that I'm not going to give out right now, but they're below today's low. I'll give you that. But there's potentially a bounce off of a decent close off of the completion of 44.93. And the 44.93 was due into tomorrow. Now, if tomorrow closes below 44.93, that's definitely not a bullish position then. So keep that in mind. I hope that's a little helpful. I almost sense that you have a position on when people talk about, I hope there's hope, Let's see. So thank you, Thomas. Samuel's here and he says, hi, David, for the S&P, does it look like we are making our way towards a bottom next week? Well, I like to think of next week as lower prices because of the indications, not just as an opinion, and potentially a real bottom. But the first things first, in order for any of the stuff that's lower to happen, we have to have a daily close or be able to get substantially below 44.93 intraday to make it really happen.